Sound off. They are interesting people saying interesting things around the NFL. Let's start in Dallas. Their new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, was talking about the dynamic between his two wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
I think it's great for CD to have someone like George. Not that George is a young player, but someone that GP really looks up to in CD. They obviously have trained some together, but that relationship's really cool. And I'm enjoying kind of just sitting back and watching it develop.
I think George Pickens is a young player, right? I mean, I think in the same conversation, Bart, that we just had about basketball, about how might being around LeBron James rub off on Luka Doncic, and I'm not comparing the people involved. CeeDee Lamb is not LeBron James, but the idea of someone who obviously has done it at the highest level and been great and been a professional and all that kind of stuff. I think that there is a chance that this George Pickens acquisition, particularly in the last year of his career, winds up being great, and the Cowboys wind up being much better than most people are projecting.
I think this is a perfect storm. I think, both can be each other's rabbit, right? Because CD wants to prove that he's the number one, and you got Pickens that wants to say, hey, I'm just as good. And for everybody that says, Pickens could be a problem, distraction, he acts his way out, and all those things, Shotty is the perfect guy for it. I mean, he was the same guy that had Santonio Holmes and Braylon Edwards, guys who were ostracized from their previous teams and came there and played in perfect harmony. I think this Dallas Cowboys team is a sleeper because of their ability to be able to take shots down the field, and they built through the offensive line. TB knows something about that. They're going to run the ball, take shots, and they have the ultimate weapon in CeeDee Lamb, who can run the whole route tree. And
just take that a step further, Greeny, as you allude to, Santonio Holmes and Braylon Edwards were in the last year of their deal. You have a highly motivated George Pickens. And the one thing that Shotty probably wanted to get to in that piece was he's a point scorer. And when you have two physical guys like CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens in a compressed part of the field, that tends to lead to scoring points, which is something you want to do when you're in the last year of a deal.
I've been bullish on this since the day it was made. We were here the morning that this trade went down, and I think I was the lone voice here saying I love this because of exactly what you guys are saying. Motivated individual. He's 24 years old. He's got a huge upside. Final year of his contract. And oh, by the way, he has been publicly dragged in the media for the last 2 months by everyone outside of his own building saying that this guy was a cancer, he's a problem, he's cantankerous. I think if you can't perform now, knowing what could be at the end of the rainbow, it might not happen for him. So to me, George Pickens to Dallas, where he doesn't have all that pressure, I think it's a great spot.
Explain it, too. What's at the end of that rainbow is a pot of gold. You talking about you telling a 24-year-old kid that, hey, if you ball out, keep your nose straight, you're going to potentially get $100 million and a play for no state taxes? Man, come on, man.
But here's my only perceived caution. Like, Mike Tomlin knows what a football player looks like, and he decided to pay DK Metcalf $30 million, and he let George Pickens graduate. So,
but it's the same guy. Listen, I don't know what is going on in Pittsburgh. One thing you can count on in Pittsburgh, they can draft a pass rusher and a receiver. But this is the same team that let Plesko Burrs go. He went and won a Super Bowl. Let Santonio Holmes go. He had success when he left, right? You get Emmanuel Sanders. So listen, I don't know why they can't keep their receivers.
So one way or another, I think we all are saying essentially the same thing. It's relatively low risk, considering what they give up for it, and potentially very high reward, which I think is really good. The other thing about the Cowboys is, and you'll learn this as you spend more time with us here, we tend to talk about them a lot. And so when that means that the pendulum is really heavy, right? The more you pile onto it, so it swings too far in one direction and too far in the other. When the Cowboys are good, maybe we overstate how good they are. When they're bad, when they have a down year, we overstate how bad they are. The team won 7 games without their quarterback last year. Dak was hurt, and Graziano made the point last week. In an offseason where every team was trying to get better at quarterback, the Cowboys are adding Dak Prescott. Speaking of whom, he's another one we go too far. Just because he's not one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL, half the time the conversation is Dak Prescott is terrible. He's the farthest thing in the world from terrible. He's an excellent, well above average NFL quarterback who, if anyone is going to be able to take advantage of these two guys, he's got as good a chance as anyone. They add good players on the offensive line. I think the Cowboys are going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yeah, Greeny, I agree. He has to stay healthy. 2 of the last 3 years, he's missed a lot of time. And on the other side of the ball, same theory. DeMarvion Overshown and Trayvon Diggs both coming off of injury. So, and they added a few other pieces, Solomon Thomas and Dante Fowler.
The negative, of course,
is Solomon Thomas with a straight face.
You're talking about Solomon Thomas. He wasn't on the Jets starting line. We go big on this. Look, I would just say this. I know you guys, you played for, you worked with Shotty. there is a question that for 25 years, Schade's been in football. This is the first time he's getting a head coach opportunity. Everyone's over the moon in Dallas on it. They didn't do a full coaching search. They did not. They said Mike McCarthy's contract's going to run out. We're going to miss that whole first wave. We're not even going to entertain Ben Johnson. We're not even going to entertain Kellen Moore. Like, this was Schade's job from the go, and that was what it is. And they might be right, but I think it's fair as an outsider who didn't work with Schade and covers the league to say, let's see how that first year in Dallas with a big spotlight goes.
Yeah, Peter, I see that differently because when you're running an organization and you see somebody every day, that's a job interview each and every day. So I don't think they just said, hey, well, Mike's contract's expiring, what do we do? I think they felt good about it. And Green, we talked about this last week. Obviously, Dak had a sign off on it, and Schade has a great track record with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And to some degree, having a relationship with Jerry Jones is probably the most important criteria for getting a job in that organization.
Would you have not liked to have seen a full coaching search with the 10 guys being interviewed, or you thought that was not orthodox? You have to admit that.
Of course it was.
But why waste people's time? If you think you have your guy, you go with Schade. You know what type of brand of football you're going to get. You're going to get the evolution of Marty ball, right? And I think that's really how the league is going now. Being able to run the football, take shots, get explosive plays. He's a master at that. He inherited it in his DNA.
But look at the assistant coaches who have walked out the door of that building one way or the other just in recent years. Dan Quinn, who's got a team we think might go to the Super Bowl this year. Kellen Moore just got the job that we thought maybe he would elevate to. So for whatever reason, the Joneses have decided this was the guy. Or at minimum, this was the time. Like, they may have gone into this process thinking Mike McCarthy is going to wind up coming back, and
Belichick maybe, who knows?
Well, that would have been a whole other thing. But we'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, one way or another, I didn't get to everything I wanted to there, but that's okay. That was worth it. In my opinion, Cowboys playoffs are way off this season. I definitely think the Cowboys will make the playoffs. We'll get